Hello and welcome. I'm Emerald Mosaic, and on this rainy day in Iowa, I decided I would do another story time. So I wanted to do a little show and tell, and this time, as you can see behind me, I'm sure you've noticed a few times that I collect elephants. Not to mention I have this elephant pendant that my mom gave me, and let me show you a few of the others that I have. I've got two elephant stuffies there. Pause the video. I know the lighting's not the best, but count and see how many elephants you see there. I got these two cuties little here. Two little cuties, oh my goodness. Got several elephants below my plant. And I've got a few more stuffed elephants under here. And that's not even all of them. I collect elephants, and it all started back in, was it 1996? Somewhere in there? Yeah, 1996. So a little bit of backstory. I had started off college. Life happened. I had to take a break from school. I hadn't yet started nursing school, but I managed to finish all my prerequisites. So, but the university that, where I'd started off, because of, I left in the middle of the semester and just stuff went down. They would not release my transcripts because I owed them some money. So my parents decided to help me pay them off. I think it was less than $100, but still, they would not release my transcripts. So my parents helped me pay them off. I had one more year of prerequisites that I had to finish. So I finished that. Then I was kind of ready for nursing school, but not really ready to go and, see a major university. Hey, I'm getting the details mixed up. Oh my goodness. Okay. This is what happens when you get older. It all jumbles, especially when you've lived as much as I have. So they wouldn't release my transcripts. And before my parents helped me pay them off, that's right, I had to earn some money. So I did get a job working at a hotel. Let's see if I can stabilize my camera. And in the meantime, there was an LVN, licensed vocational nurse. That's what it's called down south. Up in the north, here in the Midwest, it's called a licensed practical nurse. So it's the same thing. It depends on where you're from. So a licensed practical nurse or a licensed vocational nurse is basically a certificate degree, and these nurses have to be under the supervision of a registered nurse in order to work. So there was a program in the town where I was living. It was a satellite school of the community college down the road that they had they basically smashed a 2-year program into 1 year. It was brutal. I gotta have my prop handy so I can remember details. Right. So if I remember right, we had 4-week blocks, and at the end of every 4-week block, we got a week off. I think that's how it went. So basically, it was brutal. Like a semester was crammed into a couple months. It was just rough. And so then halfway through, we had a 1-month break. That was our summer off. We had 1 month. And during that month, I was like, Mom, I just don't think I can do this anymore. And Mom said, well, the only way to eat an elephant is 1 bite at a time. And I was like, I can't really even figure out how to divide this up into bites. So my mom did something absolutely wonderful. She, if I can get the glare off of this, oh my goodness, there we go. She drew the outline of an elephant and divided it up into the amount of time that I had left. And you can see, if I get in here, that there are, let me see if I can show you, there's numbers in each square. It's a little bit hard to see because of the glass, but so each square has a number. So there were 52 weeks in the program, and so she just numbered them. No, she did the full 52 squares. I forgot about that. Yeah, she did the full 52 squares, rectangles, pieces. And so she colored in the portion that I had already done. And so every Friday I'd get home from school and I would color in that square. And at the end of every block, you can see the cut lines. I would cut it along that section. And she had just put it up on the wall in 2 pieces. So I would cut along that section, move it over, and tape it up. And that's why it's messy like that, and all taped up. And I've put it onto a background so it'll stay put, and framed it so that I would never forget, and had to take it off the wall. So what she emphasized is, you break it, a task or a project or whatever it is, into these bite-sized pieces that you can handle, and you only focus on the next piece, one piece at a time. Because my mind, okay, if I'm gonna break something into a whole lot of pieces, now I've got a whole lot of pieces and that's too much. No. You break it into pieces and look at one. You look at one piece at a time, the next piece, and you don't even look at anything else. You just ignore all the rest. You focus on one piece, just the next one. When you finish that one, you throw it away and you pull up the next one piece. And that is how you eat an elephant. So at graduation, it was a small group. There was like 9 or 10 of us graduating. I mean, it was really small. And so at graduation, as we had a little program for the families, and in the program, each of us got to, give our thanks to whomever. So I put thanks to my mom for teaching me how to eat an elephant. So after the ceremony, I was standing there with my mom, and we were chatting with people, and they're like, there was this one family, there was a young teenage boy. He goes, "So how do you eat an elephant?" And I said, "1 bite at a time." And he goes, "Well, how does it taste?" Snarky. And I looked him straight in the eye and I said, "Well, it's kind of bitter at the beginning, but it sure is sweet at the end." They laughed. They all liked that. So that was a lesson I had to learn. And that is the number 1 reason why I collect elephants. But there's another reason. Elephants are known to have a long memory. If an elephant has been mishandled by a trainer, and that trainer ever comes back into their world, that elephant will remember them even 20 years later. And you better believe that elephants, they are not above getting revenge. So, elephants remember, and elephants remember the lessons they have learned, and they remember the people who have mistreated them. So that's another good reason to collect elephants, as a reminder. So let me tell you a little story about something that happened just a couple months ago. I'm not going to name any names. I'm gonna use the name Mike. It's not the person's real name, and it's extremely common anyway. So there was this guy that years ago, I guess about 4 or 5 years ago, somewhere in there, maybe 6, I don't know. Anyways, we had met online, decided to try dating. Didn't go well because he didn't keep his commitments, and he didn't always tell me that he wasn't coming when he said he would be. And I finally got tired of it, and his excuse was that he was taking care of his parents and they needed him. And I don't know what for or the details, but after 3 times of that, I was like, you know what? You are not ready to date. You know, if you're ever ready to date, we can talk. But I'm not doing this. So here we are. It had been about 4.5 years since we had even talked online. At least 4 years. And he shot me a message out of the blue about 6 months ago. So wanted to say hi, wanted to see how I was doing, just chat. Like, well, didn't even say anything, just like, hey, how are you doing? Okay. So after a little bit of an exchange, I was like, so what brought me to mind? Why did you message me again? And I could use a friend. I'm, just still taking care of my parents and struggling with this, struggling with that. I could use a friend. Okay, that's fine. We can chat. So we kind of chatted here and there. And then at one point he goes, I mentioned that I was doing art. I showed him some of my artwork, my paintings. And he was like, I'd love to see it. I'd love to see you again. Well, I said, tell you what. There's a local festival happening actually in a couple weeks. On the weekend, I was planning to go there anyway. How about you meet up with me? I gave him a location. I gave him a time. He said, yeah, that sounds great. I'll be there. Cool. Actually, no, initially it was I'll meet you there because I was planning to walk there. Come that weekend, I was having a lot of pain. I knew there was no way I could walk that far. So I asked, would you be willing to pick me up and give me a ride since I'm having a lot of pain? I had told him this might happen. And he was like, yeah, sure, no problem. I should be able to do that. Okay, cool. So we had agreed to meet at 3 p.m., that he was to come to my place at 3 p.m. So at noon, 3 hours beforehand, I texted him and I said, are we still on for you to come pick me up at this address at 3 p.m.? He said, yes, it should be fine. So 3 o'clock, I was outside and I was outside a few minutes before. Forgot forgot something. Had to go back upstairs. Came back a minute after 3. He wasn't there. And I waited until about 3:15. I started looking at the clock thinking, is this a repeat? I waited 5 more minutes. 3:20. I sent him a text. I said, hey, just so you know, I don't wait longer than 30 minutes for a friend to come pick me up. Nothing. 3:30, I called myself an Uber. I went and I had some fun all by myself. I got to see all the vendors. I got to do this and that and the other. I had fun at this little local celebration. About 4:30. So I had already been there for an hour, and this is an hour and a half after he had agreed to pick me up. He texted me, oh, I forgot. I was going to tell you that I hadn't gotten enough sleep last night and I'm going to have to postpone. And I said, no. Noon was when you should have told me that. Noon. I messaged you at noon and you agreed that you were still coming. That was the time to tell me. Not now. I said, it's too late. And he was like, how can I make it up to you? And I was like, I was kind of thinking that this was your second chance. Let me think about it. Because he offered to take me out to dinner or something. I was like, let me think about it. By this point, I was already home. I said, I just got home. I'm actually hurting a bit, and I'm going to rest for a while, and I'll get back to you. So that night, I woke up at about 3-4 o'clock in the morning, and I had that realization, when things just kind of slam into your brain in the middle of the night of, oh yeah. And so in the morning I texted him, I said, That was your last chance and you blew it. Because here's the thing. You're the one who said you wanted to see me. I didn't initiate this, you did. Number two, this was an issue way back when we dated. And that was more than 4 years ago. You had 4 years to change. 4 years to work on the known issue. And you did not. That was your last chance. And I'm done. I'm gone. Goodbye. I blocked him everywhere. One of the things that I bought at the festival was this bracelet. Number one, it was made by an American Indian. They call themselves Indians. That's not me. Native American is what we often say. They laugh and they say we're Indians because that's how they call themselves. Anyways, this native guy was selling a whole bunch of stuff. And I was looking around and I was like, oh, everything's so beautiful. I want to buy something, but I needed something that spoke to me. And all the bracelets, there was a lot of zodiac symbols and this, that, and the other. And all of a sudden I saw the elephants. I was like, there it is. I need to remember this day and to remember the lesson I learned. And here's the main lesson I learned. When a person's actions, him saying that he wanted to meet up, his words, him saying that he wanted to meet up with me, and his actions of not showing up, his words and his actions did not match up. That's a red flag. Get out. Or at least, at the very least, don't let them any closer. That is a red flag. It's not a yellow flag, by the way. There's no such thing as yellow flags. I used to think that there were. There's red flags and green flags, and that's it. And when you see that kind of red flag, especially when words and actions don't match up, just stay away. Keep them away from you. You don't need that in your life. You deserve better. So there's 2 lessons from elephants. And so there's your story time for today. And I hope that the weather is nicer where you are. I hope that you can take these lessons to heart. And I hope that you have a wonderful day.